Hello and welcome to Our Yard Podcast. This is episode 29, one more before 30. I don't know what the age requirements of being 30 is or what you get with it, but hey, we have finally made it to a new millennium. We've made it out of the 90s. Thank fucking God.
Y2K
Only
didn't
because the
happen.
2000s are only going to get better from here on out. I am one of the three co-hosts today, Swaggy T, alongside Ye Old Hogmaster, and pretty much becoming a regular on these music episodes. We got That's Kenny,
What's up? What's up?
live and direct from Memphis. With no further ado, let's go ahead and kick into this shit.
All right, we're gonna do a little special treat in honor of our new Intercontinental Champion, main event Jey Uso, baby.
You goddamn right. Quick shout out to Jey Uso for winning the Intercontinental Championship. I know all the white people online, those same ones that are like, "Oh well, my kids won't be going to school there. They're reading goddamn Diary of Anne Frank." And, like taking their kids out of school, they're all mad as fuck that Braun Breaker lost the IC title. But, shit happens, man. And I feel like he's probably going to.
Braun Breaker, he's gonna be the face of the company.
Oh, dude, he's younger than us. Like, he is going to be just fine, I promise
he's
you.
all right. Goddamn. But anyways, I just had to give a little shout out to Jey Uso because that was one of the biggest fucking pops I've ever seen in my life. And it's like also it's crazy because we haven't seen a singles title change hands on a Monday Night Raw or SmackDown in like years at this point. So it was a nice little thing.
It's been a while.
So anyway,
yeah. Shouts out to wrestling.
That's right.
So with that being said,
go ahead, sir.
I said with that being said, I guess what we're gonna be doing today is our top 10. Goddamn, we're gonna be doing our We're gonna be doing our top 3 picks, our albums, and like reviews for 2000, and we're gonna start this off pretty heavy. Don't know what to tell you. Listen, all I can say is, so I got two. Like I was torn, dude. This one was 2000 was pretty tough. Like Kenny took one of mine, so I was like, oh, that leaves one that I don't have to fucking struggle with. So like I was sitting here, dude. The third place was the hardest thing I ever had to do.
Same.
Like and I have to shout out both albums real quick before I just dive off in this shit because it really like both of them are fucking master classes. But I'm gonna talk about so like my first two or my number 3 pick is it's gonna be the debut album from Disturbed, The Sickness, but also honorable mention / tied is Bad Season by Matchbox 20, which I have to shout that out because that is my favorite Matchbox 20 album. And like I could go like that whole thing is just another, I just felt like in my stomach, I was like, hey, I just need to go with Disturbed. Like I just had the feeling, so that's what I went with. Because like to me, Matchbox 20, whether I put them in there or not, doesn't matter because they have a special place in my heart, and most people know that I love them. So it's like they're there, like I'll tell you the high notes, just the high notes real quick on that album for people who don't know is like Rest Stop, The Burn, fucking Bent, like great, like that's the best 3-run song on the album for me. I mean, all of Last Beautiful Girl, of course, the big hit, If You're Gone. Yeah, me and Trevor listened to this album a lot because Nikki gave us a copy, and like it's phenomenal. Love the album. Anybody go check it out. But that's all I got to say.
Top to bottom.
Dude, it's a banger. So,
it's solid for sure.
We're gonna go with Disturbed right now. Hey, Disturbed in this bitch. We're dropping plates on your ass, bitch. Listen, this shit goes hard. Fucking Voices might be one of the hardest opening tracks of all fucking time. And I don't know, I don't know what else to say about it. It really, like, it just goes that fucking hard. I know Trevor feels the same way.
I was
Oh
pretty
yeah.
shook by it. I was expecting, it to be hard, but I wasn't expecting it to be like, I was like, oh damn, all right, here we go. It's that's how you open up an album, man. That's how you open up a freaking new metal album.
Yeah, no, fucking banger of a goddamn album. And I think the biggest thing for me personally, not to take any much time away, but like this is really the quintessential Disturbed album. Like this is a phenomenal album, and then the rest of them they're all right, but like they never made an album this good again, in my opinion.
The closest they came to for me would be 10,000 Fifths, because that's a
Oh yeah.
badass album. It's like that album is fucking heat, but I mean, like that's the only one to me that's close to the same level as this dude. Like this album, what stood out is like, would you? Because I remember being a little kid and like hearing this shit, and I was like, what the fuck is that? But like I thought it was just me because I was only 4 years old, like 4 or 5. But like that's the type of that is the type of like impact that album left on the world. Like when it dropped, everybody is like, "What the fuck is this shit?" Like it is not. I swear to God, imagine being in 2000 and hearing this shit come out. Like, yeah, you've had Limp Bizkit and Corn and shit like in like you've had that shit kind of come out. I was about
It's
to
like
say
the boss level
I was about to
of
say
like
Nine
new
Inch Nails.
metal.
I was about to say 9 Inch Nails, but they can suck my dick from the back. So like this shit goes hard, dude. Like these motherfuckers right here, like Disturbed, just went fucking completely hard as a motherfucker on this goddamn album. Like for this to be your debut album's like, holy shit, dude. Like you motherfuckers just went for it.
Yeah.
And like the voices, the game is a badass song. Like my favorite hit on out of the hits, like obviously Down with the Sickness, you can anybody, like everybody knows that song. You can listen to it whenever. Like, but Stupefy, bro, that shit goes stupid. But just stupefy.
Yeah.
Everybody in the left wing. Everybody in the right wing.
And I'm a
Like,
homie
that
in
shit just goes stupid.
Yeah.
Hey, but like the whole album's about like violence, fetish, fear, numb, want, conflict, shout 2000 cover. Like that's a badass fucking. That's a great cover song. Which I will note, the Disturbed really did good. Like they usually did pretty well with their
Disturbed's
covers
never
on there.
put out a bad fucking cover. Let's start there.
And my cousin Josh told me one that was a deep cut. I didn't know this that they covered. I finally found what I was looking for by U2. I did not know
Oh
that they
wow.
Oh
covered that,
shit.
and it's a bro. It is a motherfucking heater.
I
Like
bet
shout
it
out my
is.
cousin Josh for that.
Shouts out Josh.
Dude, but like that, and then I think my favorite song on the album, one I don't know, one of them. It's hard, dude. I don't know my exact favorite song, but like dropping plates, like because my cousin Josh and his brother Matt were like they listened to this shit because they were like teenagers, like because they graduate like Josh is graduating in 04 and Matt was like 05, so like they were like peak teenagers when this shit was happening, and it was like I remember them playing this fucking shit all the time, and I was like this shit. I was like, man, this stuff goes hard, and like. I remember dropping plates got a lot of spins. God of the Mind, a welcome burden, meaning of like, dude, God of the Mind is also like that's a deep song right there. That shit that does something for me. But like, dude, I don't know. The whole album, it's just fucking and it I don't know, it doesn't get lost in translation, what they're fucking going after, like their point for this album. So like it's really solid. Like you don't get lost. It's just, it's. I mean, it's just fucking heat. I mean,
It's very like compact, like it was like 47 minutes long, but like I was at work, getting burnt by materials and stuff because I didn't go to college, and it was good motivation music for that. So I'm just like I'm on fire, and it was good music for that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely feel you on that one.
Like, shout out to Sturb for this. Like if I had to give a total rating for it, like I'd have to give it. I mean, if somebody said 10 out of 10, I would listen to their argument. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I would listen to their case.
Right? There's not really a bad song on it, for
No, I
sure.
mean it's stout. The whole album's stout. Like I would give it, for me personally, I'm thinking like 8.5. I would say like 8.5. To 9.
Fair.
In that range, somewhere around there. I guess I'll go like, I don't know. I guess I'll give it like a 8.75 today.
8.75.
Like that's it. That shit goes hard. Like, I mean, it's just a great album. What a fucking day. Has to go down as one of the best debut albums of all time.
Oh yeah.
And it has one of the most iconic songs of all time with Down with the Sickness. It has one of the most, like, badass opening tracks. And, of course, everybody knows it got the most the sample worthy, like, vocal note that whatever the fuck you hit on Down with the Sickness, though. Oh, what? Like, that
Oh,
shit is
yeah, like
that shit just goes stupid for no reason. It's like every time you hear it, even when you hear it today, like after a million times, you're like, God damn.
it doesn't get old, man. It just doesn't like
Oh,
it's like nostalgic and then it's somehow innovative at the same time. Still,
oh
even though
yeah.
you've heard it a million times, it's like, what is this? Like, what planet was this made on? Like,
No shit, dude. Oh
It's a
wow.
it's a fucking banger, dude. I'd have to agree with that 8.5. You pretty much took the words out of my mouth with everything. Say my favorite song on the album probably is "Want." If I had to just pick one, or the shout cover from Tears for Fears. Fucking just beautifully done all the way throughout. Um, the bass work on this from Steve Kamak, or K-Mac, or however you pronounce his name. He was the bassist they had before they got Fuzz. Dude's a fucking monster. I prefer Fuzz on the bass, but not a bad bass line or guitar riff on this album.
Oh, dude, big PP guitar riff on this album.
Absolutely. Dan Donegan, fucking phenomenal guitarist.
So
big strings only.
what's your rating on it?
Oh, 8.5. Like I was saying, I have to agree with that rating.
No, I'm talking about Kenny. I asked Kenny.
Oh,
Oh, my bad.
well, I'm also going to not keep with the tradition, and I'm going to also give this album an 8.5. It could have been a 9. I could even see the debate Harley was making for a 10. But my favorite songs is Waka Kaka 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 itself, Down with the Sickness. Can't go wrong with that, man. Like it's iconic, man. I remember being in summer camp in like 2004, and just like the kids that were older. I was like what 7 or whatever. Kids that were older than me were like, what, we can't get down with the sickness when we were in the van, the church van and stuff, and she turned it off. Like, so that's good nostalgia. Voices, I like Voices a lot. Good, like I said, I was listening to this album while I was like baking in the sun and pushing chemicals on pavement. So I was like, yeah, this is like, yeah. And then the shout, like, 'cause I felt like I'd heard the song before when I was listening to the shout, and I was like, oh, okay. After I did my researches a little bit, and so I mean, those two are up there with it, up there. Um, I think that as far as like it, I like the game, but that Voices Stupefied Down with the Sickness, that would be a good 3-song run. A three or just a 4-song run because the game's a decent song. Yeah, no, that's I'll go 8.5.
Oh, yeah, can't go wrong with
Solid
that.
album.
Sounds good.
So with that, we're gonna go to Trevor. See
Kick it off.
what his number 3 is.
Oh, we're just fucking around, dude. And surprise, surprise, you're probably gonna hear me talk about this rapper every now and then. His name's Aesop Rock, and this album came out in 2000, and we're talking about goddamn Float, which was the second studio album from him, and really like his first really big produced album. And this sumbitch is almost 70 minutes long, hour and 10 minutes, and I'm gonna try to keep my review to 10 minutes as well. But it starts off with the title track, which is more of just like an intro of sorts with Float, produced by Aesop Rock himself. And most of the album is finally, it's kind of the introduction to Blockhead production on Aesop Rock production. You know, Aesop Rock, Blockhead, their partnership they had through the 2000s was just the stuff of legends in the underground scene. And Float's a really good introduction to that. Then it goes into one of my favorite songs he ever put out with Commencement at the Obedience Academy with the hook that he has tattooed on his arms, must not sleep, must warn others.
I
And
think that's my favorite ASAP song so far.
dude, this shit's fucking.
Dude,
He, go ahead.
no, I mean that's why I'm with Ken. Like it's up there like that. I don't, dude. It's a fucking banger. Like that song. I mean, I just look at going back and like looking at the track list and that you listen to. Like all of it's just it's some lethal ass songwriting. Like
Oh
garbage
yeah.
garbage has some heat in there. Like I don't.
It's like a literary lecture in rap mode, in rap form, like a real like advanced literature and like AP literature in college, in rap.
Yeah, no, he goes full send on the writing, and if you didn't know who the fuck he was off of Appleseed and Music for Earthworms, this was definitely like one of the first albums that everybody heard from him. And right after, which I would have to say, Commencement at the Obedience Academy is probably my favorite song on this album, and also the first big song that he had produced by Blockhead. And in my humble opinion, Blockhead is one of my top 10 favorite producers, mainly because of his work with Aesop Rock and just beautiful production all the way throughout this. Fun fact though, if you ever hear a double bass on any of Aesop Rock songs, big chances are that he recorded it, like he recorded that bass himself and he produced the song. And with that being in mind, if you ever want to hear Aesop Rock chop, just go to the next song, Big Bang, which he chops the entire hook to. And Big Bang was one of the bigger songs off of this album. Fantastic hook on it. Garbage almost comes off as a hip hop beat if you aren't prepared for it. Um, I mean, Garbage has a goddamn banjo sample on it, which I do believe Aesop Rock actually recorded the banjo itself. Then right after that, it goes into the next song with featuring Slug from Atmosphere called "I'll Be Okay." Has a harmonica sample on it. Then it goes into one of the three instrumentals on the track, which is "Breakfast with Blockhead." And then the next track, Basic Cable, banger. Fascination, banger. Oxygen, fucking wonderfully made song. Skip Town is the only track on the album that isn't produced by either Aesop Rock or Blockhead himself. It's produced by Omega One, and another fantastic fucking song. 6B Panorama is pretty much just kind of Aesop Rock looking around his apartment, which I guess he lived in apartment 6B, so he just went out on the balcony and just pretty much just like wrote the panorama of everything he saw around him. So that's a really interesting, it's a pretty like all respect, dude. Like it is kind of it's a basic idea for a song, but the way he takes it just makes it all the much more special. The way he does it.
It's ASAP's
Right
version
after
of a
that, it
basic
goes into
song.
yeah, pretty much one of the more up until he starts doing children's songs. But I mean that we will get into that when we do. The second song on the album, Lunch with Blockhead, or with the second instrumental on the album. You got Breakfast with Blockhead, Lunch with Blockhead, and Dinner with Blockhead. And this is the second one. Then it goes into probably my second favorite song on the album, Spare a Match, again with the Blockhead production. Most of this album, like I said, was produced by Mr. BH, and just fantastic beats. Right after that, it goes into the second featured song on the album, Attention Span, featuring Vast Air, who, if you're not familiar, is an American from New York City on the hip hop duo Cannibal Locks, which is some underground shit for that ass. Right after that, it goes into How to Be a Carpenter, which, again, a banger. Prosperity, fucking another one of my favorite songs on the album. And then the next three, No Splash, Drawbridge featuring Dose One, and Dinner with Blockhead are the last three produced by Blockhead. And then probably the biggest fan favorite off of this album, produced by Aesop Rock himself, The Mayor and the Crook, which, I mean, just the first lines of the song is just makes for an absolutely wonderful banger outro. And no more pencils, no more books. I built the city out one brick. It had a mayor and a crook. I made the crook stab the mayor and slay himself in the guild. I stole the brick back and migrated east. Now let's build. And then it just pretty much just goes into this very dark, very, like, you could definitely tell he was still on pills when he wrote this whole album. But top to bottom, I don't think there's a bad song on it. Compared to what he put out in the future, I would say that this is, it holds up very, very well. Overall, I'm a big fan of Aesop's voice. And if you haven't heard Aesop's voice, it's a very rich, kind of flat, almost monotone at times, but is a very flat bass kind of voice with just a tiny bit of growl. And even with it sounding probably that boring to you, he is able to hit pretty much every emotional, emotion in the book with it, and you definitely get to see that all throughout this album. I would personally give it an 8.75 out of 10. I enjoy this album quite a bit, and yeah, I mean, there's not really much else to add to it.
Well, go ahead.
I mean, I could go on and on. Don't get me wrong.
You could probably do a whole podcast just about this album. To be honest, if you broke down all the themes, all the literary themes, and everything that he really gets into, it's a here. Sorry, were you finished, or you want me to go?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. I enjoyed this album. It was kind of a welcome surprise because, like you said to your note, the only critique that I would have for A$AP Rock would be the monotoneness. This is coming from somebody who's also struggled with the monotone. Like my voice is also similar, kind of in that way. So, but he sounds just more energetic, like the Chop In song, where you told me I was gonna think that was crazy, but yeah, like I mean he did it. He came in there and he hit that Migos flow almost. Like that triplet,
The fucking big man gotta be wanna be yes sir, yes sir.
Yeah, man.
Just you didn't expect, nobody expects that shit from him, especially if you're listening to his older stuff, or then you listen to None Shall Pass era, then you listen to the stuff he's been putting out lately. Is he can chop, he just doesn't, And then when he does chop, it's like saying a double rainbow. It's like, holy shit,
It was definitely a welcome, and it's actually I appreciate the fact that he doesn't chop, because now it's everybody either chops or does the triplet or does whatever Future does or Young Thug does or whatever. So it's welcome to just see somebody be them, not conforming to what is popular in the trends and whatnot. So my favorite song, commencing at the Obedience Academy. I think I mentioned that. Blockhead's production was, very welcome. It was, a different type of. It was a similar but different type of vibe to everything, to what A$AP had to offer. The interludes I really enjoyed, actually. I know they're short, but it wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting a spoken word type deal, and just the fact that they're all three, it kind of reminds me of Tetsuo and Youth almost,
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's a bit lengthy, but I think that's warranted. This is also, living in the age of, the third verse being extinct. It was kind of a pleasant surprise to hear third and even fourth verses on some of these tracks. I Slug from Atmosphere. You can't go wrong with Slug. Good feature. I enjoyed The Mirror and the Crook. I enjoyed Big Bang. I think I mentioned that. But yeah, I give this album an 8 out of 10. Very good, and it leaves you somehow still wanting more. Wanting, after a 70-minute runtime, you still want to hear what he's got to say, and you haven't feel like he's tapped into everything yet. So that's cool. And the apartment song was really cool. I wasn't expecting that type of song from A$AP. So that was welcome. Yeah, but 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I have to give it. I have to give it a 7. I have to give it 7.5 out of 10, for me. Like I don't know, I really enjoyed this whole album. Which, like I said, like when you got me into A$AP Rock, and you're like, yeah, the older shit's harder to get into, and like I just dove in. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna listen to this shit. And like the first few out, like that's I don't know, like it's kind of it's not my favorite of the album, but like it is one that I thoroughly enjoy. That's like I mean, I don't know. I mean, hell, y'all kind of just went over everything. Like like
That's
commencement's a
all good.
fucking banger. Like garbage. I don't know what it is about garbage. Like I think it is one of the bigger songs from the album, but I really enjoy garbage a lot. But like the whole thing, like you know, I don't know, basic cable fascination, oxygen, like how to be a carpenter. I don't know. All this shit's like everything on the album just like tells. Like it's just I don't know. Hell, there's just so
It's
much theory.
lethal literature.
Yeah, there's so much like literature and
Yeah,
shit in
it
here.
is.
It's just I don't know. I fuck with it, but like Aesop is one of them people. It's like you kind of fuck with him or you don't, I guess. Or like really, it's kind of like you fuck with him or you don't know who he is.
True.
Pretty much.
That's about it. Like because every rapper or like big rap fan or hip hop fan, like most everybody knows who he is. But like
But if you like
it's kind
Earl
of like
Sweatshirt
like
and
he's
you don't
kind
know
of
who
like
ASAP Rock is,
like
you need to do your research. You know.
yeah, like to me, he's kind of like the white Starlito, like you know,
Hey,
like
there you
because
go.
like no, because like dude, Starlito is like your rap him and like MF Doom and Aesop Rock are like your favorite rapper, and like they don't get credit. Like how many people Starlito like when we get onto his albums, it'll be exciting because like that dude has put so many motherfuckers over, like and like he just doesn't get the fucking credit he deserves. Like without him, like he got like him and Little Wayne got popping off in like '07, and then like he got fucking Yo Gotti and all them and fucking uh I mean really just any of them fucking southern rappers like from the mid 2000s on, like Starlito was there, like Kevin Gates, he was on Starlito's early shit. Young Dolph,
Dolph,
he was on Starlito.
Don Tripp.
He was bro, like they were on, yeah, Don Tripp, like bro, they were on, like he was putting Dolph on albums in like 2010, like
Yeah,
20,
man.
like these motherfuckers didn't know who he was. Like Starlito's that fucking dude. But anyway, I'll
Oh
get on
yeah,
to him. But like but like I think that like him and Aesop Rock, although they're different, yeah, but like there's some similarities to how they are. Like I don't know, just like
the
I
two
guess
sides
their
of the same
reception.
coin,
Yeah, like their general reception. But like
for sure.
dude, Aesop Rock is like he's a fucking beast. He's phenomenal, man.
I
Like
mean,
he's so
without ASAP Rock, you don't have any Lupe. Like he inspired the Lupe Fiascos, the Earl Sweatshirts, the Tyler the Creators. Without it's like the yeah, they got all even like Slug from Atmosphere. These guys they walked so that people like Lupe and Tyler could run, and then even if you want to go even deeper on it, like Kendrick, you know.
yeah.
So like, yeah, no, I definitely agree with that take.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why I mean, like I said, 7.5. Like it's not my favorite of I do love it. Like it's a great album, but like it's not my favorite one of his. I don't know. I just feel like a 7.5. That's the rating I want to give it. So
There you go.
it could change. Probably will change from a different day, but that's where I am at the moment. So,
Very
but
nice.
yeah, we'll go to Kenny's number 3.
Oh man, I'm gonna decide. All right, three. This decision, just like Harley, this has been something I've lost sleep over. I've shoveled chemicals too. I've been, I listened to both these albums again yesterday, and I still just am about to make this decision on the spot. So in three, two, one is gonna be Country Grammar by Nelly.
All
Um,
right.
and with much regards and long live Big L. But I'll get to that in my honorable mentions. The Big Picture by Big L is an iconic hip hop album, and it was y'all can't, we're not on video right now, but it was this damn close to being my number one album or to being my number three album. Sorry, but yeah, Country Grammar by Nelly, man. What man? It was a vibe, bro. Like this is that like everybody knows Ride with Me, everybody knows Country Grammar, everybody knows just how transformative this album was for just music and hip hop in general. it deserves a spot. And man, shouts out to St. Louis. I think this is probably the first time we've had anybody from St. Louis on this podcast. So I like that. Nelly definitely stands on where he's from, and he opens the album. Besides a hilarious intro from Cedric the Entertainer, uh, you got you got St. Louis, man, and that's I mean, shit. When you hear a song and it makes you want to be from there, that means it's done its job. But Yeah, crap! Forgot something I wanted to get into. I'll do it after my review, though. The Saint Lunatics. I believe this is the only album the Saint Lunatics were featured heavily on. And if you dive off into the internet and want to, research that, then you can. But a lot of people say that the reason this album is so good and so iconic is opposed to Nelly's other albums, which maybe step down from this. I mean, this album went diamond, so I mean, come on, it's like step down from diamonds platinum, but they wrote a lot of these songs, and I could see that maybe, but it's a very good as far as like genre defining albums for R&B. I believe it's one of them. Also, something that me and Trevor were talking about earlier, and Harley, you probably can. That this Lil Wayne feature on here, this young Lil Wayne, like this little Wayne feature, was it was something. At first, I was like, "Is that fucking Lil Wayne?" And then I looked like, "Holy shit, that's Dwayne Carter Jr. Jr." And yeah, man, it's a fantastic. Like, it left me wanting. It's runtime's just a bit over an hour. It did leave me wanting a little bit more, which is, and you got that which is yeah. It's so it's fun. It's shit. It's sexy. You know what I'm saying? For you gotta you gotta give it up for Nelly, bro. The women in the 2000s, bro, and even the women now. I'm sure can't go wrong with Nelly, bro. I mean, bro, you can't go wrong with Nelly. Don't hang out with Nelly, but
Nelly had such a chokehold on the fucking just culture of America that you had little white kids all around the country fucking having the Band-Aid on their fucking cheek. That was a fashion. That was a whole fashion choice. Like, they were just doing
it. Showing up. And so I give this album a favorite songs. So my favorite song is I think it's gonna be Ride With Me. I'm gonna go with the basic. I'm gonna go with that song is just such a freaking vibe, and then EI obviously. But as far as not like the singles, I like St. Louis, man. I think that's a great way to start up an album. That's a good it's a good anthem for a town, man. It's always good to have that. And before I get into you guys' takes, this album's a 9 out of 10. I give it, it almost could get that 9.5, but I'm gonna go and give it a 9 because I feel like I've told myself I was gonna get more strict with my ratings, because I can't have everything, and I can't have everything. There's got to be some controversy up in this joint. But before I get to you guys' takes, I meant to do this at the top, man. And then Harley just mentioned him on the last one, man. Young Dolph's trial started today. Well, not Young Dolph's trial. The trial for Young Dolph's killers started today, and it's like it's a weird course of emotions for somebody from Memphis and stuff. I never met Dolph, but I know people who encountered him, and I know that he was really like that. He was really real, but he was really like a good person and a good person for our city. To see him just get killed over something so senseless, and I don't know if you guys have watched any of the trial stuff. It's really hard to stomach for me, but man, $800. That's all they were paid for that, and I just feel bad for everybody involved, man. Like long live Dolph, and I guess justice is being served, but there's really not any justice in any of this shit. Like, yeah, we got to stop the killing. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna pass it on to you guys.
Well, I would personally have to say Country Grammar for me is probably a solid, at the very least, an 8 out of 10. Like, that's like bottom dollar I will accept. But personally for me, I would say it's a solid 8.5 out of 10, if not a 9. And I mean, whereas Outkast and like UGK and 3-6 were really laying the foundation of Southern hip hop, you had Nelly making it popular all at the same time. Like on a global scale, like everybody's like, oh shit, like this shit's getting played everywhere, dude. It was in every movie you could think of. Fucking Ride With Me was in every goddamn movie you could think of in the early 2000s. Country Grammar was one of the biggest hits of its time. Batter Up, EI. I mean, these were massive fucking hits. I would say my favorite of the hits. It's hard to go against Ride With Me, man. Even though Country
pretty
Grammar,
damn good song.
I would say Country Grammar might be the most catchy diss track of all time. Like
Yeah.
I'm, yeah, like fucking basically. Oh, I'm going down, down, baby. Yo, street in a Range Rover, street sweeper,
Boom, boom.
baby. Cock ready to let it go. Like that's like
Bro,
you got kids dancing and shit to this, and
it
he's
took me
talking about
years to
going
figure out what it was actually about. I was like, oh.
Yeah, no, it's like once you figure it out, it's like, oh shit, okay, yeah, he's about to kill somebody. But no, Ride With Me is really hard to go against. But my favorite personal track on this is probably the Lil Wayne one, For My,
Yeah.
track 10. Fucking featuring Lil Wayne, because like if you listen to this, you're like, that ain't Lil Wayne. Until you look at it, you're like, that's Lil Wayne. Like,
I did a double take.
like his voice. Like, okay, I'll get into it whenever after Trevor gets done.
oh, I'm pretty much said what I need to about it.
All right. Well,
So,
okay.
hey.
So this album, like, so my ex fiance Megan, she was like a big. She's a huge Nelly fan. You know, of course, like you said, like the women, like women had, like he has women in a chokehold.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
like, dude, of course, I listened to this album a good bit with her, and then like it's probably been like a year. It's probably been like 2 years since I've listened to this album, and like I went back and listened to it, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, damn, like this shit just still bangs, dude. Like,
It's timeless, man. It's for real, like
it
Diamond,
is,
bro.
dude. Like
It's
it is aged so well. I'm like,
Mm.
even though it's been like a year and a half, I think like a year and a half, 2 years, like since I've listened to it. I was like, hell, I'm excited to hear, just like freshen up on. I'm like, damn, like it's really about. Like I don't know, like I knew the Little Wayne was happening. It's like, and it happened, and I was just like, fuck. I was like, damn, he sounds really young on that.
Yeah,
Like,
bro.
that's how
I
it
had to take
was.
off. I had to take off all my protective gear. I had to take off like my big glove, my other glove, and like deal with my hand being ow, 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 ow. To like make sure that it was Lil Wayne. I'm like, oh, holy shit.
Yeah,
It's that it's that shit. But like I'm with you guys. As far as the hits, like Ride With Me, that's I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Like, dude, it is such a good vibe song. Like when you turn it on, you just start smiling. Like so come on, ride with me, I said you're back in the Benz Hey, what's with the money? Come on, dude. I remember that music video when it dropped. Like, we was over at my next door neighbor's house, and Leah was like, my older sister Leah was like, whatever. Her and the boy next door, they were like hanging out, and we was watching it, and I was like, what the fuck? I remember watching this video. I was like, this is badass. I'm like, there's money everywhere. There's bad bitches shaking their ass. Like, I was
Band-Aids.
like, dude, I was like 4 years old. I was like 4 years old having the best time of my life watching this.
There you
Like,
go.
it's just fucking dope. And like, I don't know, like it's hard to go with that. Like it's now as far as I will say this, an underrated track that nobody talks about from Nelly is Greed, Hate, Envy. What a goddamn masterpiece that is.
Pretty
Nobody
good.
fucking talks about that shit, dude. Like
oh dude, that's just bumping.
that's like his most slept on track. Or now either that one or Never Let Them See You Sweat. Fuck me, dude. Like Nelly just goes off. Like
Uh,
people kind of I don't know. I feel like Nelly's rapping abilities get overlooked a lot by his singing. But like
he's
that
slick,
son of
like
a bitch,
pioneered a lot of this melodic rap, like Future and all that.
Yeah,
Like a lot of
yeah,
this shit kind of started with Nelly.
yeah, bro. Like Nelly was spitting bars, dude. I don't know what to tell you. Like I
Hell
don't know
yeah.
what to tell everybody, but like that's if I had to choose one, if I had to choose, I mean, fuck, like no, I don't know, those damn rap and batter up. Oh, it's fucking hard. I
Batter
even
up
like
is hard.
Thicky Thick Girl. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Fuck, I guess I'll have to go Great Hate Envy. It's like a tie between that or Never Let Them See You Sweat. Like that's like my two favorites. Like my 1A and 1B on that album. Like as far
Oh
outside
yeah.
of the hits.
And then you got that Wayne feature, man. That
Oh yeah,
freaking Wayne
dude,
feature.
it's fire, dude. For my that shit goes hard. But I'll have to give this album an 8.5 out of 10. Good vibes all the way around. Like everybody should listen to it again if you haven't heard it in a while. And if you haven't heard it, I guess you've been in a fucking rock.
Basically, get you a Band-Aid.
Yeah, pretty much. Slap that bitch on. So with that, we're gonna go, I guess, into my second pick.
Yes, sir.
And all I can tell you is introducing the chocolate starfish. Wow. And the hot dog flavored water. Hey, motherfucking Limp Biscuit. Chocolate
Fucking Limp
starfish
Bizkit.
and the hot dog flavored water, dude. What a fucking album. Like, bro, like coming off a significant other. Dude, like they released this shit. That's what's crazy about this is like they released significant other in 99. I think it was okay, so it was June of 99, and then they released this September of 2000. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you put out two albums that are this, like two masterpieces within a year, within 14 months of each other, or 15 months of each other. It's like, you motherfuckers were on it. Like, they were locked in for this album. I mean, dude, but like Limp Bizkit was one of them. It's like, who could you find that was much bigger than them at this point?
They
Not
were
to
definitely at
mention,
the top of their shit. You know, like arguably, but I mean, that some would argue that the top's still coming. Like,
yeah, and like they were, dude, they're bigger, dude. They are fucking massive right now, and it's crazy. Like,
motherfucking rolling,
dude,
rolling.
rolling. Like, shout out that song on this album. Like, okay, let's just say shout out the hits. You got My Generation, My Way. It's my way or the highway. Dude, fucking rolling. The one. I mean, really, a lot of them were on the radio anyway. That weren't even like Take a Look Around. That was the Mission Impossible 2 soundtrack. Dude, like,
Yeah, I thought this album had like 18 singles. Like, you know,
it really did. Like, I mean, and like even that, like even if they weren't like hits or like on the radio shit, it was like they were such like they were so big that you were hearing them anyways. Like you
oh
couldn't
yeah,
escape this shit, dude. Like cause like Full Nelson, like motherfuckers know that shit. Like, dude, God bless, man. It's this album. It just starts off like you start off with, of course, like they always have their intro on their album. Then you got Hot Dog, which is a diss to 9 Inch Nails, and then he's like, the iconic thing about that song is like Fred Durst is like, if I say it was like the second verse, he's like, if I say fuck 2 more times, that's 46 fucks in this fucked up rhyme.
yeah.
Like motherfuckers just dropping. He was just dropping the F bomb everywhere on that shit. And like My Generation, fucking like just a fucking banger.
It's a very 2000 album. Like, it's like if you had to pick like an album to exemplify the year 2000 from like my remembering of like shit, I'd probably pick this one. But it'd be in like there's so many good albums dropped this year, but this is definitely it's very very 2000.
Oh yeah, but like it's aged, but for like it's 2000, but like it is aged so well, dude. The production on this album is out of this world. Like the favorite thing, like I remember hearing this, like like every course, like I've said before about Limp Bizkit, is like people gave me shit about it. Like growing up, nobody liked them around me really. Everybody just talked shit about them because it's like Nickelback. But then it was like, when I got into high school, and then a dude showed me this was the first album I listened to from Limp Bizkit. He just put it on the fucking Walkman, and I was listening to it. I'm like, God damn! I'm like, this shit's changing my life. Like it was just doing something for me. I remember hearing My Generation, and he's like, like when he just opens up, he's like, if only we could fly, Limp Bizkit style. John Otto took him to the Matthews Bridge. Boom, dude, John Otto, one of the best fucking drummers to ever sit behind a fucking drum kit. Like that son of a bitch. I was like, I'll die on the hill that Limp Bizkit has one of the best rhythm sections of all time, in my opinion. Like, bro, like John Otto and Sam Rivers can't beat it. Even with Wes Borland, playing guitar, like doing rhythm and lead, like they're just fucking great.
Agreed.
But yeah, like Full Nelson, My Way, everybody knows that. Rolling,
Rolling.
That was like the first. It was like the highest paid video produced, like at that time. It was like $1 million because they paid spent most of that budget like paying so they could get on top of the Empire State Building. Not the Empire State, the Twin Towers. They like got up on the fucking Twin Tower, like they went up to the fucking top of that bullshit. And like before they goddamn like Limp Bizkit, like it's crazy because they were like the last. There was something weird because this album came out in two, and they were like the only band to do that, or like they were like the last people to be, or like use it in a music video, or like be on top of the Twin Towers and shit. Like it's some wild thing like that like Limp Bizkit's tied in with that the Twin Towers. Like
Oh
not the
God,
comedy.
Limp Bizkit Twin Tower conspiracy
Yeah, no, I
deepens.
mean not like
Oh God.
they weren't tied in with the fucking fucking airplanes, but like what
Right.
the history of it. But anyways, and then you got probably one of my favorite Limp Bizkit songs, "Living It Up." Like they got the sample from "Life in a Fast Lane" from the Eagles, which is pretty fucking cool. The one "Get Your Groove On," which is shit. "Get Your Groove On" has Exhibit, I think.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I really liked the exhibit
Yeah,
feature. That was welcome. I wasn't expecting it, but
yeah.
Fred Durst rapping on this, like he got dude. God, strike me down, please. I apologize, hip hop. Fred Durst was rapping his ass off on this album.
Hey, they did. Hey, you can talk shit about like I'm telling you, they were on their shit in this fucking at this point. Like they were
Top of the
locked in.
world.
And like, yeah, get your groove on, what a bang, and then take a look around, which is like not it's one of their biggest songs, but it's kind of weird because like it's not a typical Limp Bizkit song. It's kind of like a normal rock song, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But
take a look around. I would have to say it's probably that or Boiler are my two favorite songs on this album.
oh, Boiler, yeah, I'm getting to that. That's the fucking like, and then It'll Be Okay is the whole album's just fucking great. I'll just get to Boiler is the best fucking Limp Bizkit song of all time. It is the best song they've ever written. Like it is that fucking good. It's like 6 minutes. It's a long ass song for Limp Bizkit, but like, dude, it is so fucking emotional. It is deep. Like everything about it is just perfect. Like it is my favorite of all. Like it's not even a debate. Um, just and then you got Hold On, and then Rolling. You got another version of Rolling, which features the other version of Rolling on this album. It's just like the rap.
You got Method Man, Redman, and DMX on that motherfucker.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Method
Mm-hmm.
Man, Red. That's what I was about to say. I didn't want to fuck it up, but yeah,
You're
Method
good.
Man, Redman, and DMX. And then you got the outro. Like, dude, this album, like, there's not a fucking low point on it. There's nothing. I mean, it's just straight heat, top to bottom, fucking ready to go. Out the gun, shit. I mean, it's a motherfucking bop. I mean, I shit.
I love
Like,
the outro. Like, I didn't realize that was Ben Stiller until just
oh yeah,
now.
yeah, dude. Like, okay, so like, living it up. That's the whole. Like, I'm living it up. He's like, this one's for you, Ben Stiller. You know, you're my favorite motherfucker. And he's like, yeah, Ben Stiller was like him and Fred Durst and all like they were all good friends, which is kind of odd, but like, yeah, dude, it's I don't know,
Banger.
dude, like the whole album's just it's like if I had to review it, I don't know, give it a score, fucking, I guess I could give it on like
Do it.
it's hard because it's my fight, dude. I don't know if it's my that's my problem because like the whole album is stellar, but like they have so many albums that are like that. In my opinion, that it's hard to. I don't know which my favorite. I can't say it's my favorite Limp Bizkit album because I love all of them. They're all different to me. But I have to give it. I don't know. I'll give it a 9.5 for sure. Like I mean, it really is that good of an album. Like you can tell because like they kept growing, jumping, and like they just kept growing and growing. Like from the
Rolling
first,
and rolling.
like from the first album to Significant Other sounds like two completely different bands. And then in 15 months to go from Significant Other to this, it's like, what the fuck were they doing, dude? Like they were just locked in, improving their sound up the whole time. I mean, and they were on tour most of that time, so I don't know. It's kind of odd.
It gives a very sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, that's about like I said odd. It's not odd. It's just kind of mind blowing. Like how busy they were back, like touring and shit, and they still managed to improve their sound that much within 15 months. Like this, this production on this album is just out of this world. It's
It's definitely a step up. It's like the evolution of their sound, But it's like Limp Bizkit has so many different like little like nooks and crannies that they go into, and I think Roland. I forgot Roland. I forgot all about Roland, and then I like was listening to this, and I was like, oh god, Roland, and ever since, bro, it's been the vibe for the past like 2 or 3 days.
It doesn't get out of your head. Once Roland enters your eardrums, it's over with.
You're rolling, like man.
That's it. Like you're like it's rolling.
I did not know that there was a remix with DMX and Method Man and Redman either. Like that was like I was like, whoa.
It's dope.
Yeah, Limp Bizkit had Rap by the Throat, whether people realize it or not. They're from like 98 to 2000.
Gotta give it to him, man. Fred Durst, like
the motherfucking man, brother. Now it's the old man dressed up like a grandpa, but yeah. So what's your guys' reviews on it? Like, what are you thinking, Kenny?
You pretty much said it all. My favorite, when I started listening to this again, like I realized, like My Generation. Okay, I've heard that. My Way. I've heard that. This just another. I think I say this almost every episode, obviously, because we're doing old albums. The nostalgia is going to be heavy, but like early on in life, I just remember. I was like, oh, I remember that one. Oh, I remember that one. And then by the end of the album, I was like, damn, like I know about 10 of these tracks already. And my favorite song on it is probably it's rough. Okay. My favorite hit would be probably I'm gonna go with My Generation. And then my favorite like I guess album track would be the Rollin' Urban Assault Vehicle remix featuring DMX, Method Man, and Redman, featuring production from Swizz Beatz as well. That just shocked me because I was like, oh, I didn't really look at the track listing with all that before I started listening, and I wasn't expecting. I thought like, oh, okay, it's like another spin on Rollin', and then like fucking here comes motherfucking them boys, And Fred Durst, his rapping on this was just like he took a step up, man. He elevated, man. Watch out, Eminem. You know what I'm saying? Like, I did not know that was Ben Stiller. I love the outro. I thought it was, really cool. And I'm reading now, like, you got phone conversations from, you got Rob Dyrdek, you got Mark Wahlberg on there, you got freaking, and it sounds like you said they're on tour and whatnot. I can see that. It sounds like a very like on tour. We just threw this shit. We threw this shit. We didn't just throw this shit together, but we threw this shit together and it's dope somehow. Type of album.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Those are my two favorites, and I'm gonna give this album. I'll give it an 8.5. Also, the title is fucking hilarious, huh? The title is like, like. You can't even or only Limp Bizkit can have an album titled exactly this,
And it's like, once you hear it, like it never, like you don't ever forget the title of this album.
Also, released on 10/17. Shout out to Gucci. Can't go wrong with it, man. October 17th, 2000. The world got hit with some shit. Yeah, man. That's I did not know about that whole World Trade Center trivia. That's crazy. But very 2000 for the last. That's very 2000. I like it. So yeah, I give it an 8.5.
Yeah, I'd like to imagine that was probably the one and only music video that's ever been recorded on either one of the towers. to imagine that just a year later, what happened is fucking insane trivia. And knowing that Fred Durst has a history, like has a permanent place in history involving the World Trade Center, honestly, is kind of fucking hilarious to think about, and just
Oh
in a
yeah,
way.
it
But
is. No, it really is.
no, fucking like Wes Borland, fucking big PP riffs all the way throughout. Fucking butthole in the wiener water. I'd have to give it solid 8.5 out of 10. If not, not fuck that, 8.75 out of 10. And the only reason I don't give it a 9 is just because Significant Other to me is just so much better of like a complete like idea of an album. But I mean, this is like a very, very, very great album from the Biscuit. Big PP riffs, like I said, from Wes Borland all the way throughout. John Otto and Sam Rivers just have fantastic, just amazing chemistry in the rhythm section. Fred Durst lyrically grows a lot in this album, but just compared to Significant Other, I feel like there's just something missing, and that is really the only critique I have of this album. Other than that, it's a fucking great, it's just solid project all the way throughout. And not to seem rude or anything, but I'm gonna go into my second place album, and this album was technically recorded in 1993, from 91 to August of 1993, when MF Doom's brother, DJ Subrock, also known by his birth name of Dingelizwe Dumile, wound up crossing the freeway in New York City and got hit by a car and tragically passed away at the age of
Rest in
19.
peace.
We're talking about, yep, but this album finally did see the light of day 7 years after it got recorded. We were talking about Black Bastards, which is the final studio album from MF Doom, who was going by Zev Love X at the time. It was the last album. It was one of their two albums they ever put out. And you want to get an idea of, like, if you've ever heard their first album they ever put out, it's Mr. Hood, which it is kind of like their first album. Just to kind of briefly talk about it, because I didn't talk about it in 1991. It's kind of like a weird, almost comic book esque look into street life in New York City. And it just shows them doing like hopscotch essentially on the album cover. But this album is literally like a hangman with a Sambo figure being lynched, and
Yeah,
the only letters missing are the A's in Black Bastards. So just like hits you in the fucking face as far as being an album cover. It's just insanely, I would say, powerful, but it's just like, oh goddamn, like I gotta get that. But
yeah.
it starts off with DJ Subrock, who again is MF Doom's little brother, produced most of the album. And starts off with Garbage Day #3, which is more of it's almost a skit in a way, um, but it gives way into the album. Anytime they do any re-releases of this album and any promotion of it, they always do "Get You Now," which is a fantastic song in its own right. And it's still got that really early 90s feel to it. And this is probably the album that sounds the most dated of the 9 we're going to be talking about today, but it was fucking recorded in the early 90s, so what do you expect?
It,
With that in mind, though, it goes into What a Redacted No, which is produced by the entirety of KMD, and one of my favorite songs on the album is just fucking great all the way throughout. MF Doom was a fucking rapper's rapper even back in the early 90s, before he even put the mask on. And right after that is the last track on side 0, Sweet Premium Wine, which is just it's an ode to alcohol essentially. So
oh,
it's
alcohol.
it's all alcohol, and it is a great song. Right after that it goes into side 1 with Plum Skins, in parentheses, Loose Hoe, God and Cupid, produced by the entirety of KMD as well. And it's a quick little banger at only a minute 43. But it goes into Smoking That Shit, which again produced by Subrock, and one of the longest song on the album at 4 minutes and 40 seconds long. So every song on this album definitely is hit it and quit it kind of situation, but they don't go away so quick that it's like, man, I wish that song was longer. You don't really get that vibe with any of the songs on this album. Right after that, it goes into the one and only song on the album produced by Zev Love X himself, Contact Blit, which, as short as it is, it's very, very hard hitting. Just lyrically, it gets in your ears. It stays there. Super catchy. Right after that, it goes into my favorite song on the album, Gimme, which the production on this whole album is just
Amazing.
top notch, top to bottom. But Gimme is probably my favorite beat, as well as being my favorite song on the album. It's definitely a song that was like, it had to have been played at many a party back in the early 2000s for those classic kind of nights. And yeah, like, just fantastic song. It's definitely like a function fucker upper, as I would call it.
Mm-hmm.
Right after that, it goes into side two, which is technically side three, considering they start with zero. It goes into Black Bastards, which is the title track itself, and just a fantastic song. Another thing I haven't really talked about, the going back to What a Felly Know. The sample at the first of that is something we can't necessarily repeat, but it is goddamn hilarious, and I would recommend checking it out. Um, Black Bastards itself also has some very, risque kind of samples all throughout, but it's fucking great song. Hilarious. The sense of humor throughout this album is just very MF Doom once you start getting into his later work. But right after that, it goes into It Sounded Like a Rock, which is one of the few songs which is just sub rock all the way through, doing his thing. And don't let the fact that MF Doom is, I would say objectively one of the better lyricists of all time. Don't let that trick you into thinking his brother can't follow him fucking rhyme for rhyme, because he absolutely could. It's a damn tragedy that we didn't get to see like MF Doom and his brother doing their thing later on into life.
It
But
truly is.
with that being said, it goes into Plumskin's "Oh No, I Don't Believe It," which is almost plays out more like a skit, even though there is some rapping in it. And then it goes into the third and final side, which only has 3 songs, and definitely the funniest song on the album to me, "Constipated Monkey," produced by KMD and Q4, and the name of the song itself comes from the sample they lift from it, like saying, "You look like just like a constipated monkey." Just playing it throughout, and it gives me the giggles because I have the sense of humor of a 10-year-old. Right after that, it goes into "Fuck With Your Head," which probably I would say probably my second favorite song on the album. Um, just fucking amazing throughout, and then it ends with the banger known as "Suspended Animation," which is again another 2.5 minute song. But just good lord, like, there's not a weak point on the album outside of the skits, but we've already kind of talked about that in the 1998 episode with, skits have their place in music, but if you're making a whole album off of skits, it's just, it's going to miss the punch. But I don't think any of the skits on this album miss the punch. I think they actually add to the album and make it that much more of an enjoyable experience. Production top to bottom, mainly handled by DJ Subrock, rest in peace, just top notch, as previously stated. Zev Love X, even before he put the mask on, was a rapper's rapper. And all that taken into consideration, I give this a strong 9 out of 10.
Very good breakdown. Um, I guess I'll go next. The production on this album, well, all right, this album just smacks you in the face, like in like one of those ways that like NWA Straight Outta Compton smacks you in the face, or maybe Public Enemy or something like that. This is like, I really enjoyed this album. The production on it is, I'm not as well versed as Trevor and probably Harley on my MF Doom, but this is the best production that I've heard on an MF Doom project, period, up to this point.
Wait till you get to Mad Villainy, dude.
It's like my favorite track, I think, would either be I like smoking that shit because it was kind of like just I like it's kind of funny, like the comedy as opposed to like the the political rap on here is like it's a good contrast. I've always enjoyed both of those, so I'm glad to see that the blend was there and alive. But Get You Now, What a Redacted No, um, sorry, excuse me, Sweet Premium Wine. You really can't go wrong with any of these, honestly. If I had to pick a weak spot, it would be probably like Plum Skins because I mean, and it wasn't even just because like I mean, it more of a skit, but I think What a Redacted No is probably my favorite song on here, and I'm gonna
It was mine for a long time, so I can't say I blame you.
right, and I want to keep re-listening to this album. That's the reason why I'm gonna give it this rating. But after just only one listen on this, for the pod. But I'm gonna go on and put this at a 9 for me, and it could go lower. I'm gonna see how it grows with me. But this I really enjoyed this, man. Our rest in peace to MF Doom's brother. Help me
DJ
out.
Subrock, man.
Yeah, DJ Subrock. Long live him, man. We really missed something, and I'm glad we were able to get this and their first project out of it at least. So that's I'll give this a 9.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say that like MF Doom, like he never put out anything bad. Like I don't know,
It's just
like MF
top
Doom,
tier, man.
yeah, dude, like dude was just he was on another. He's just in a different world, man. Like you just couldn't fuck with him. Like everything he does is just, I don't know, it's so authentic that it's like you just I don't know. Like it's so hard to explain MF Doom. It's just fucking awesome, really. And like you said, getting to have this last album with his brother is like I don't know. I guess it means a little bit more that sentimental and stuff. It's
Well, it seems like
like
it was a struggle to get it released between the cover art and like everything. So I always think it's good when because like there's probably a lot of albums sitting in vaults still that just didn't get released because of problems like this. So it's always good when something like that does get to see the light of day and it is
yeah,
the vision is fulfilled.
and like it's crazy that this album like what really is crazy is thinking about this album was recorded from 91 to 93, and then they
Ahead of
did
its time.
they dropped it in
Ahead of its time by a
2000. Dude,
mile, dude.
like how the fuck like they were doing this shit in 93, dude. Like, MF Doom, he has to be on the Mount Rushmore. I don't know, man. Like,
I think he is. If you ask most people, I think. Well, I don't know. What do you think, Trevor? I
like
believe
I
Mount.
think,
If
like
not on
I
the
I mean,
Mount
think
he's on
Rushmore, he's
Mount
definitely on
Rushmore,
the.
but
He's on the Indian side. The side that's the real Mount Rushmore.
yeah, like if we're talking about like most, what sucks about it is like since he passed away, like a lot more people are giving him the credit he deserves. I'll be honest, I was late to the party, but I got in before he passed away, and it fucking broke me apart when he did die. And I'm not the only one. I'm not that close to
No, I'm
him.
just not
Like
getting to the
I
party.
don't know him. I didn't know him personally. Obviously, not many people did. And I mean, he was so secluded in his own private life that like 2 months after he passed away, his wife actually finally, admitted he's like, yeah, he passed away. But
Well, I even admire that though. Like I admire the fact that he valued his privacy enough to even be that elite of a rapper and that well known of a rapper. He didn't budge. Like he's like, no, this is I'm gonna separate these two, and that's something that's incredibly hard to do, especially looking at this age that we're in now, where you have to be a content creator first and an artist second. Like it's admirable. There's like long live MF Doom, man. There's been a lot of tributes in this episode already. We'll have more. We have more ahead of us, unfortunately. So get your sad glasses on. But um, like I don't know if we'll never see another MF Doom. I don't even know if we'll see anybody quite like him. Ever again.
yeah, and but Harley, what'd you say your rating was on it?
I have to give it. I have to give it. I don't know. I'll go 8. I mean, it's like it's. I don't know, fucking, like I said, I'm partial to MF Doom. Like it's hard not to like his music. Like if you're, you know, into the whole. I don't know, like if you're just like a deep rap fan, like you enjoy the everything behind it. Besides, like all the stuff that's just like commercial accessible shit, like they like MF Doom's just a fucking pioneer, and like this album come out and fucking like being recorded in the early '90s is just fucking mind boggling. Honestly, like it really doesn't
Yeah.
make sense how it does it. Like,
I didn't even know that part until like I just was like Wikipedia, and I was like, oh wow, like this is okay, like that adds another level to it. Just the really the influence it's probably had like in the back rooms of hip hop, because like people obviously people probably knew that this existed and it was heard before, so it's probably one of the more influential rap albums of the '90s that doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah.
has to be, but yeah, I guess we'll go to Kenny.
All right,
Hit your damn, hit your
how are we doing
number,
on time?
hit
Oh,
your
okay, we're doing good
number.
on time. All right, so in a reference to those sad glasses, we're gonna go into number two, which is one of my favorite albums of all time. It was almost number one. We got Linkin Park's debut album, Hybrid Theory,
Mm.
and
Mm.
man, all right, we're gonna start out with
Paper cut.
oh boy, this album is probably one of the most influential albums, not only of my life, just it's kind of like a amalgamation of all this new metal and Limp Bizkit and rap and Eminem. This is like taking all of it, pushing it all together, and then adding some more dope shit. And there's not a bad song on this album. This album's a 10 for me. I can't even get it. I can't
Oh
even
no,
like
it's
wait to the
10.
end of my take.
No,
um,
it's a 10. It's not even fucking close, dude. It's
yeah, Paper Cut, one of the best openers. Like it's the best way that Linkin Park could have ever introduced himself to the world. I like the like man. Like fucking One Step Closer. It's not really my favorite Linkin Park song, but I mean that's not really saying much because this shit is amazing. Everything you say to me, but we're one step
one
closer
step
to
closer to
the
the
edge.
edge, and I'm about to break.
A break. You need a little room to break. If you ain't heard that song, you're definitely living under a rock, bro. Like fix your life. Chester Bennington's vocals. I'm way to the end for that part, but he's just the range, man. The range that man could get to. And then like this was my first introduction to like rap rock or whatever you want to call it or whatever. And like uh, you know eventually we're going to get to the culmination of all great music ever, and maybe music in general. Move over Mozart, Collision Course with Linkin Park and Jay Z, but you know. Listening to, I kind of had to go backwards. The first time I really heard this album, it was on my Xbox 360. It was like the only album that was just saved on the Xbox 360 because it was my cousin's before it was mine. And like, I would just be playing like, hell, what was it? It was like the Medal of Honor that they made for, Xbox 360. And I'd be playing that and listening to fucking just this album like just over and over and over. But yeah, with you, it's a good song.
Oh,
I like it. It's very good. But I want to get to hold on. Runaway is my favorite Linkin Park song of all time, debatably. And
good one.
it's I don't know if it gets the shine that it necessarily deserves. Because it's one of the it completely defines what Linkin Park is, and it's just like it's classic.
Oh,
I mean, we
yeah.
just it's just this whole album is just such a classic. Probably the biggest hit on this album, debatably, would be "In the End,"
That's not
which
debatable, brother. That's the biggest hit they ever fucking had.
Yeah, I was about to say
yeah,
that was the biggest hit they ever made. Like,
like "In the End's probably it's one of my favorite songs. It's in my top five for Linkin Park. Um, "A Place for My Head," that's one of the most beautifully written songs on the entire album. You got "Crawling," "Points of Authority." Man, fucking, there is not one bad minute, like one bad second on this, and to
Forgotten?
The writing, yeah, just the songwriting, just in general with Linkin Park, but this album in particular. I mean, I personally, it's not my favorite Linkin Park album. Either Reanimation or Minutes to Midnight is, but Hybrid Theory, man, you don't have any of that without Hybrid Theory, and it's like Mike Shinoda. I don't know the full backstory with Linkin Park, but I do know that uh, when Linkin Park this was a demo, so they were shopping this to different record labels, and record labels were actually being like, nah, which is L.
Fucking crazy.
Big fucking L there, not gonna lie.
They told Mike, they told Mike Shinoda to don't worry about the rapping, take the rapping out. Your band has a singer, and just play the keyboards and whatnot. And shouts out to the other band members for having his back and being like, no, we're gonna be who we are, and if y'all don't want, then we'll walk the fuck on out, And they were right, because I mean, not to discredit the genius that Chester Bennington is, however you choose to look at things. Mike Shinoda, the blend is what made this what it is,
Oh yeah, like that, like his rapping, even though it's not crazy rapping, it's just it just fits so fucking perfect for what they did.
Yeah, it's so well produced, and so the length on this album, 37 minutes. It gets in, it gets out, and this is only on the Japanese version of the album, but I think it's worth mentioning. Fucking My December, man.
Oh my
Jesus
God.
Christ.
God fucking damn it. Dude, that fucking song, dude. It's on okay, yeah, the Japanese version, the bonus, they ended up making a bonus version or bonus CD track edition or whatever. Jesus, dude, I went and bought it, so I had this album a long time ago. Obviously I've heard it forever. And then 2018, I won't forget. I went to Best Buy, just fucking around, seeing if I could find some George Strait shit. And then I saw Hybrid Theory for $5. I was like, God damn, I gotta have that. So I bought it and didn't know it was the bonus track edition, and it had My December. I was like, brother, if that was
what is this?
If that was the album closer, okay, the album closer Pushing Me Away is fucking phenomenal. It's fucking wonderful. But
it's good. It does the job. But if My December was the album closer,
oh my God, that would
especially going into Minutes to Midnight. I mean, I want to
Meteora went into Meteora, but
it did? Okay. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Meteora is the second album. So
my bad.
If December, that might have been the greatest ending track of a fucking album if they would have put it on there. Pushing Me Away, like I said, is wonderful in its own right, but My December is probably
that shit's sad, man. That shit's sad, big sad.
But Chester's voice on it is just so it makes you hurt, dude.
It hits different. It hits different with Chester not being with us anymore, too. And I want to say real quick, if you know anybody struggling with self harm, or if you know anybody that has those issues, this is good music to listen to by somebody who also struggled with those issues. And I think My December is maybe one of the best songs that exemplifies that. It's that shit's sad, man, and it's it's a shame, but I'm thankful we got this great music out of. I'm thankful that the great music came out of it, but it's one of those things where it's kind of transcendent music at this point, because honestly, I'd rather the man not have had to struggle with the things that he did struggle with and not have the music.
Yeah.
But with that being said, this is iconic music. This is quintessential, just in general. If you like music in general, if you haven't heard Hybrid Theory, go out and listen to it.
Yeah, you're missing out. You're completely missing. It is a 10 out of 10. It's not fucking debatable. I mean, dude,
absolutely.
Forgotten, to me, Forgotten is the best Linkin Park song. That is okay. That's my favorite. Forgotten is my favorite song of all time from Linkin Park. My December, I think, is the best written song from Linkin Park of all time.
Yeah.
I'm not discrediting anything off Meteor, Minutes to Midnight. Those are some banging ass albums. But dude, there's
A Place for My Head, bro. I forgot to mention A Place for My Head.
God, that's my favorite song on the album, is A Place for My Head, or Points of Authority.
Or fucking
Points of Authority. Jesus, what a fucking banger.
by myself, shit.
Dude, just
like Chester Bennington
Today's
is one of
challenge: find a bad song from this album. Level impossible.
right.
Like, Chester Bennington's one of the greatest to ever do it, and like that's it's just all like getting to hear this, but yeah.
And 02 we'll get to the side B of this album, or the disc 2 to this album, the Reanimation. I think Reanimation is one of the coolest things ever made.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, like what they did with that shit. So.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, like, I mean, me and you just kind of went over it. Like it's 10 out of 10. Everything's perfect. My December's the best. Like My December is the best written song on the album. Should have been the closing track. And then I mean, what's Trevor? How do you feel about it?
I'll be completely.
I know you don't like Lincoln. I know you don't like Lincoln Park.
No, the thing is, to be completely honest with you, I've never really been a big fan of like more, I guess you would call like more emo adjacent music, kind of like this. So when I went into this album, I was not expecting to love it as much as I do. And honestly, I got to fucking agree with the sentiment. If you think this is anything other than the 10, you need to shut the fuck up. Yeah. Because this is one of the best albums ever made. Like it just is. Like I tried picking it apart when I was listening to it, and honestly, I feel like a dick for even doing that because this is just truly one of the best albums ever made.
Yeah.
And just 10 all the way throughout. Like I said, my favorite song on the album is probably either A Place for My Head or something about Points of Authority, dude, just gets me hyped up. Once it makes me want to punch somebody and cry at the same time. So it's like if something can make me feel that way, dude, it's a 10. Like I can't deny it. It just is. It's like the air we breathe, it goes into your lungs. You don't think about it. Fucking Hybrid Theory is a 10. It's just one of the facts of life.
And it feels like it was effortless too. It feels like they just went in and just because they did. It wasn't effortless. It was actually a major struggle to get this made, to get it out, to get people, the industry to accept it, which is crazy considering it came out the week after Limp Bizkit's album.
Yeah, it's like everybody expected nu metal to sound like Limp Bizkit, and dude, like everybody thinks every time someone says nu metal, they think of either Korn or Limp Bizkit. Linkin Park is like, I would say, what would the word be? It's like more of a subtle choice as far as like nu metal goes, but as far as musicality, dude, it's hard to beat. And the writing, I can't. Nobody can write the way that Chester and Mike Shinoda can. It's just like they have this certain kind of appeal to letting you know, hey, you're not alone. It's going to be okay. Let me hold your hand. We can get through this together. And it's a very, again, I've said this before, and when I'm about to get into my next album, like I said, this album feels like a warm hug to let you know that somebody loves you. And it's okay to
punch
feel how
somebody
you
in
feel.
the face.
Yeah, and it's also okay if you want to just fucking stab someone in the dick, do that too. But let's talk about it first. That's what kind of album
exactly. This album is therapy.
Exactly. This album is therapy. And great fucking therapy after that.
I agree.
I don't say it like it took you this long. I've been telling you for years to listen to Hybrid Theory, and you're like, I don't like that, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, you finally listen to it, and you're like, yeah, it's one of the greatest.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's because mom is like not even my mom, but it's like people like would always just play it for me, and they'd be like, "Oh, let's listen to What I've Done," and it's just like, all right. And then they were like, "Let's listen to What I've Done." And I'm like, all right.
One of the weakest Linkin Park songs ever made.
Oh, here it comes. What I've done. I'm like, okay, all right. That's enough of that.
I face myself. Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, it's like after someone told me that, it's like this is the best thing I've ever heard. And then I actually go back and listen to where it came from. It's like, I could probably go back and listen to What I've Done with newfound respect for him. So, to reiterate, that's a 10. And we are getting into our number one albums.
Man.
Do we want to break first? Or we can probably get in. I don't know, it's up to y'all.
It might be a good idea to have a break considering like how long we usually go on about our favorite albums.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen.
Sounds good. We will go ahead and we want to thank y'all for listening to part one of Our Yard Podcast, episode 29, featuring Swaggy T. and good old Hogmaster. I don't know why I called you Hogmaster. My lips ain't working today.
Oh
And good
God,
old that's Kenny. Fucking, we're
Kenneth
going from
fucking
the 662 to 901 to 541. Fucking
yeah,
type shit.
east
And
west.
we're gonna take a little intermediate break right after this short message.